Okay, now we're rolling.
She's like, oh!
Okay, bring it back. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I want to hear about some things that this group talked about. Sorry.
Fun, like counting off things, like you're not counting off, but like you say something and then you respond or whatever. It's just gonna have a makes it a little bit more fun.
Definitely. Do you guys remember Blondie's training a while ago, like when we first started? He was talking about like, where are my pants? And like the kids would be like a different letter of like pants. And so just like the sound off, like roll calls, like yeah, those are super good. That way you know if a camper's missing like right away too. Yes, Carson.
One thing, so from Thursday we talked about like making sure all the kids are or none of the kids are left out. I think that's a big thing that would make it really easy to make sure no kids go missing. Because if everyone is just friends with everyone and no one's forgetting about one of the kids, then they're all just friends and they're all going to be included and be together.
I think that's a super good point. Like if we're including them, like we learned in our wonderful bully training, then that might be less likely that we lose a kid. Did you guys talk about anything different over here?
I would say make sure that if like a camper goes somewhere else, that like a counselor communicates that to the rest of the group as well, and maintain the rule of 3, but like make sure that the rest of the group is aware where you guys went, so like they don't freak out either.
That's super good. Communication is like super key. That way, like everyone knows where they're at and like where they last were. Kind of like when your mom was like, text me when you change locations. Like my mom did that. I don't know. Mom was paranoid. Okay, thank you. So she was like, you can go somewhere else, but just tell me. So that way she knew where I was. Super good. Awesome. Does anyone else have any other comments they want to make before we? Yes.
I think the important thing that Steve brought up is if you're following the rule of 3, it's harder to have like a situation where like a camper could go missing. So as long as you're just like keeping that rule in mind and you're keeping that rule of 3, then that could be a good way to work that situation.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that. Okay, so we're gonna go. There's a handout that I'm actually going to give to you guys later over email. But this goes over like every procedure. So if you forget anything that we talked about today, like you can definitely go over this again. So this talks about like what we can do beforehand. And a lot of these before things are like designating like a search team. So knowing like what that search team will be. And a lot of this I feel like we'll do more like when we're at camp, so we like know exactly what procedures to follow there. Since you guys haven't seen it, it's like kind of hard. It talks about like making a list of all the areas at camp. So again, like you'll get a better sense of camp like once you get there. And like holding a missing camper drill before the campers arrive. So that's probably a smart thing to do. We're going to read the bullets over here because this is like exactly what they want to happen if this situation was to occur. But I think it's important, like we talked about, like having a beforehand plan, but also like having a prevention plan. Like if we're doing all these things, it's going to be a lot less likely. Like the first thing that we want to do ever is to prevent these things from happening. But in the case that it does, this is what we're going to do. So Katie, can I have you read first, and we're just going to go like down the row for each bullet point. So let's start with the conduct.
Conduct a methodical and documented search of all areas of camp. Ensure continued supervision of all campers at camp.
Keep campers that are accounted for where they are until the missing camper is found when the situation is resolved.
It is very difficult to search a campsite if the camper is still moving in this place. If the camper is not found after the first 15 minutes of searching, call a fire drill and conduct the camp.
If the camper is not found after conducting a fire drill, contact the camp staff and national staff person and continue searching for the camper.
If the camper is still not found, contact 911 and ask for help in search and rescue.
Awesome. And during this training, you guys, like, I hope you feel comfortable asking any questions about this. Like, there's definitely no stupid questions. These like are really, really important things that we're learning. And so, if you have any questions about these procedures, like, please ask them. So with this, is there any questions that we have about? Yes.
Oh, and last time that you do a fire drill, do you tell the kids that somebody's missing, or?
So, yeah, I think the best thing is to like not make a big deal out of it. Like the more panic that we cause, like kids, if you say like, oh yeah, we have a camper missing, like their first reaction inside are like panic or like, oh my gosh, like let's all search for them. But like that's exactly the opposite of what we want to happen here. Yeah, exactly.
Like, and normally we have a walkie code. I don't know if you want to talk
Yes.
yet, but we like have a walkie code that will get trained on right before camp, so that like all the counselors or at least unit leaders know what's going on, so like they can make sure that all of it.
And like, and we'll have a walkie for like each unit leader. Like one of the counselors in your unit will have a walkie-talkie. So like we always have communication with each other. Are we having the same code? This
Yeah.
year?
Why not?
Good for to use it, so.
Like,
Right.
what is the best
Sure.
way?
That's good. I'm trying to remember for sure. It's the, has anyone seen the last 116 pages? Yeah, it's good. I mean,
Not lost, just the 160.
just 116 pages? Okay. Gotcha. So it's just 116 pages because they were lost. So we all know what that means. Okay. Awesome. Alright. Any more questions about that? Super good questions. Okay. So now, moving on to medical things that might happen at camp. So this is like the when and what. I want you guys to talk amongst yourselves again. When do you think the most injuries and accidents occur at camp? And what were the campers or staff doing when the accident occurred? Maybe. Like some ideas. I think probably this is like the most important one to answer is just like when do you think it happened most? So talk amongst yourselves for a little bit and I'll bring it back. So who's come up with some ideas? I want to at least hear like one person from each section. Simba.
Well, I said follow time, which translates that means like the water activity.
Oh, the water activities.
Yeah.
Yes. So activities are
Dangerous.
yeah, welds from like water balloons. Just kidding. Sorry. Yes.
We discussed perhaps like transition time / like down time when people like supervise.
Yes. Transition time, or when like free time for sure. Do you guys have any ideas? When like accidents might occur most often?
Like those good ones. The only other one we thought of was if the hot chocolate's too hot, they burn the car.
You could sue for that. That's McDonald's. Just kidding. Awesome. Yes. So this is like they wanted me to show a couple of like statistics that they have. And so this is kind of showing you like the camp activity. Like I believe the gray is the campers, and then the black is the counselors.
That's like staff.
Yeah, apparently. So we don't only have to worry about the campers, but be careful, y'all. So camper activities. So we talked about like the water fights or just like any like activities that we're having. Like that probably happens. That happens a lot for campers to like get hurt in those activities. And then Hans mentioned free time or transition time. That's actually like the biggest cause of like our campers getting hurt. And why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that would be a thing? I guess going back to like our second question of like, what are the counselors doing when those things happen? Why do you think that happens more than free time?
I think like during camp activities, we like know that there's like a method to it. We're really aware of what's going on. Everything's being done the way it's supposed to. But when it's free time, we're more like relaxed and we're like, yeah, like play this game, have fun, children, and they hurt themselves. So we're not as hyper vigilant with free time.
Yes. Yes, I definitely agree with that. I feel like we just get a lot more lax and like we want them to have fun and like we want them to do what they want to do, but also like we might need a little bit of a perimeter to like something.
Yeah, and a lot of times you have like kids going to the bathroom and like you're breaking up that group, and so like counselors are like less aware of what campers they're like supposed to be watching, and so there's something like one that's overlooked, unfortunately. Something we can definitely improve on, but yeah. So we're like still less aware of like all of our campers.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah.
Is like food allergies
Normally we're aware of like what the food allergies are like in advance. So I don't think we've ever had it this year. Have we had that? How do we do that?
You be smarter about
what they're
it's
eating.
not, yeah. Luckily the kids know what they're allergic to and they'll ask usually. But we just had a nut substituted dairy product, but she was allergic to nuts as well. So got her.
It wasn't it wasn't that bad, like
It wasn't.
squishy tongue, but
As soon as she touched it, she knew it wasn't good. So luckily but it is something very important to realize that maybe new kids might find new allergies or something like that.
Right.
But they tell us what their dietary restrictions are.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
there's
sounds
meals
like
for them just for that. So.
right. And like what Queen said, it sounds like we have like Benadryl and like things on hand.
Yeah, the nurses, yeah.
Probably like the nurses are like super awesome about that. They normally have like everything that we would need. I think something smart to do maybe is like even if like our records already show what they are allergic to, like I would ask them personally, like just make sure like as a counselor like you're aware and you can like actually keep tabs on what they should and should not be eating. Super good question. So yeah, and thank goodness we have the nurses. That's like super great. But yeah, going back to free time, like we definitely, I feel like that's when also, like we were talking last time, like campers probably get lost the most in that time too. So I think it's like the time that we're less aware, like we need to be like the most vigilant about like where our kids are and like what's happening with them. Does anybody else have any other questions about that? I think there's like one more chart. This kind of like goes over the same thing. I kind of think this is funny. Like 10% of the time, campers are injured from walking, and staff is 12%. That's hilarious. Like, honestly, I probably laughed the most in the beginning if that happened to you. But yeah, like playing a sport or games, like definitely the highest for both parties. So. Be careful, yeah. Like, this is so nuts.
I can't understand the sleeping one.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe that. Okay, so yeah, the most common injuries occur during staff-planned sports and activities. That means we have the obligation to also make sure there are rules that go along with each activity to keep our campers and staff members safe. Like I said, like we need to kind of set perimeters, especially for like free time. Even though like we want them to have fun and like go have adventure, but within a boundary. Like make sure that we know what our procedures are for like everything. And I think like that's something I've learned like in the classroom. Like even if you think that kids are gonna know like a procedure, like they don't. And you have, well, I mean, like they might, but you have to remind them over and over again and like solidify like what the rules are that you're having so that they're safe. And so it mentions, this is really important, it says that also means counselors need to be sure they don't get too into activities where they're not paying attention to camper safety. So it's okay that we're having a lot of fun with our kids, but don't forget them because we're having so much fun. Okay, like your first priority is them and making sure they're having fun. And you can have fun as well, but your top priority is them. Okay, fire. So we're gonna watch a little YouTube video.
Yes. Got too excited.
Last week I gave a fire safety talk, and nobody paid any attention. It's my own fault for using PowerPoint. PowerPoint is boring. People learn in lots of different ways, but experience is the best teacher. Today, smoking is going to save lives. Does anyone smell anything smoky?
Did you bring your jerky in again?
Oh my God! Fire! Oh, fire! Oh my goodness! What's the procedure? What do we do, people? Oh, how did that happen? Down in the hall. No, we don't know that. The smoke could be coming through an air duct. Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, Colin? What's the procedure? Go! What am I doing? Top down! No, Michael, no! Touch the handle. If it's hot, there could be a fire in the hallway.
What does warm mean?
Not a viable option. What next? Oh, here's a door. Check that one out. How's the handle?
It's warm.
Well, another option. Jeez,
Leave it, woman!
get out of the way. Go. Things can be replaced, Phyllis. People, human lives, however, can... Ah, my hand, that's hot. This one's hot, too. Okay, we've trapped everyone for himself. Okay, go. Oh. Have you ever seen a burn victim? Procedure. Exit option. Where do we go? Use the water to cover the mouth. A what? A rag. A damp rag, perhaps. Let's remember the procedures. What are the evidence? Okay, that's the wrong way. We've already tried that. Remember your exit points. Exit points, people. What's next? Huh?
Stay alive, I'm getting help! Pull me up!
You're too heavy.
I only weigh 82 pounds! Say bandit!
I got 911. Anyone? 911.
What do we do?
Use the surge of fear and adrenaline to sharpen your decision making.
Okay, I am not dying yet.
What is that?
The fire studio!
Attention! Employees of Dunder Mifflin! This has been a test of our emergency preparedness. There is no fire, it was only a simulation.
What?
Fire, not real, this was merely a training exercise. So, what have we learned? Oh, come on, it's not real, Stanley. Don't have a heart.
No.
So, in that video, what shouldn't you do? A fire. God, lots of good examples. Don't start the fire, that's a great thing. Really good. Okay, we're getting somewhere. What else should we do? Panic! We should not panic. Good answer. Anything else we can think of? Okay, someone said panicking. Okay, so going to the documents, or the handout that you guys will be receiving. We're gonna read the during again. And so where did we leave off? Reading bullet points. Kimball, do you want to read?
Welcome home.
Welcome! Do you want to read the stay calm, and then we'll just go to the side and then like back.
Stay calm.
Perfect, thanks.
Call 911.
Awesome, I can the background.
Notify the camp advisor immediately. The camp advisor will initiate the incident command system.
The incident commander should assign staff to do a final sweep of buildings and not to ensure that no one is injured.
If you need to move our inside building, file out of the nearest safe exit. Do not worry about your possessions.
Take attendance and make sure everyone is accounted for.
Proceed with your group to the designated assembly area. Remember, safety of campers and staff is the most important factor. Buildings can be replaced, people can't.
And the wonderful words of Dwight. People cannot. And something that we'll be doing before, we'll have a mandatory fire drill in the first 24 hours of camp so that we do know what we're doing, just in case that's a thing. And again, once you're there at camp, this is going to be a lot more familiar to you, and we will go through these procedures so that you know what to do. Does anyone have any questions about what we do if there's a fire or before there's a fire, anything like that? Okay. So then, weather. If there's a weather problem, we, as part of the training, wanted me to have things from camp, make sure that you were prepared, you know what the buildings are, where you're supposed to go. So again, we're not going to cover this now, but when we get to camp, this will be things that we cover. And again, it mentions things in the handout, it'll talk about hurricanes and tornadoes and things like that. Of course, camp's a nationwide thing. So some people would have to deal with that, but I really don't think that's going to be an issue here. But we'll know what to do in case of the emergency that we might have. Okay, so this one for the last 10-15 minutes of this training. I think this one's kind of a heavy topic of active shooters, especially because it's been happening so much in the U.S. and really all over the world lately. This has been an issue, and so I know that this isn't the most fun or engaging thing, but I do want to read through this because I think it's really important for us to know all this information. So I'm just gonna read this top part, just talk about what an active shooter is, when they normally occur, and why this is important for us to know at camp. And so an active shooter is an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. In most cases, active shooters use firearms, and there's no pattern or method for their selection of victims. That's probably what makes that the scariest. Active shooter incidents are unpredictable and evolve quickly with no typical time of occurrence. The immediate deployment of law enforcement is typically required to stop the shooting and mitigate harm to victims. And then because active shooter situations are often over within 10 to 15 minutes before law enforcement arrives on the scene, individuals must be prepared both mentally and physically to deal with an active shooter situation. Can we go wherever we left off and have these bullet points read? So this is information to provide to the law enforcement or 911 operator if this is to occur and you get to a phone in time to talk to them. Where did we leave off? Oh,
Location of the active shooter.
okay, and then Fritz, do you want to read?
Location of the caller.
And then we'll come back to the front.
Number of shooters, more than one.
Says law enforcement on the site. Physical description of shooters.
Number and type of weapons held or used by the shooter. Number of potential victims of separation. Use it or threat of explosives such as
The shooting is
Okay, so during the incident, note there's no definite best response during these incidents. Seeing as all of our campsites are very different, and we don't want to know, like, so that, like, this is just talking about how all the campsites are different, so it might just be like a different situation. But this is like the most important thing to remember is the run, hide, fight mindset. So we're gonna kind of go over those things. So this is hide. So if running is not safe, so like that's the first, hold on, do you actually have running? Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna skip over run. So run. No, I'll just read this. So if it's safe to do so, the first course of action that should be taken is to run. Obviously, like, there's no rhyme or reason for why this person is doing this, and so, like, talking with them might not be the best option. So first thing you want to do is just, like, get away from the area. And so when possible, individuals should seek the exit of the building through the safest route and proceed to a designated assembly location or an alternate site. However, given the dynamic nature of an active shooter event, exiting the building and going to an evacuated site via practice fire drill routines may put individuals at risk or may not be possible. If doing so is not possible or puts individuals at risk, individuals may need to run out of the facility or away from the area under attack and move as far away as possible until they are in a safe location. And these options should be clearly conveyed to counselors during policy training. So again, we'll go over that at camp. Despite the complexity of the situation, anyone at risk who can evacuate safely should do so. Recent research shows the best method to reduce loss of life in an active shooter incident is for people to immediately evacuate or be evacuated from the area where the active shooter may be located or attempting to enter. So counselors and staff should be trained to visualize possible escape routes, including physical accessible routes for occupants, visitors, or staff with disabilities and others with access to functional needs. So I think if there's any needs that you have with your campers, like in every location that we go to, it's very wise, even though this is like a scary concept and the likelihood of it happening isn't like super high. But I think like anywhere you enter, like look for your exits. Like make sure that you're aware of your surroundings, like wherever you are. Like if this were to happen, where would I go? How could I get my kids out? Like we just need to know like exactly what we're gonna do if that situation happens. It's better to be prepared, even though it's a frightening situation, than to just pretend it might not happen. So avoid escalators and elevators. Take others with you, but don't stay behind because others refuse to leave. Leave your belongings behind. Help others escape. Prevent individuals from entering an area where an active shooter may be. Keep your hands in the air to signal that you are unharmed to law enforcement responders. Follow any and all instructions of all police officers. Do not attempt to move wounded people. Call 911 when you are safe. Okay. So, hide. We could read some more, just so you're not listening to my voice the whole time. Where did we leave off? Okay, you want to just change the bullet points? You can choose.
Okay, if running is not a safe option to hide in a safe, then I'd say as safe as possible when they're
Yeah.
where the walls might be thicker and have fewer windows. Likewise, for individuals that can't run, hiding may be the only option if evacuation is not possible. Find a place to hide where the active shooter is likely to behind you. In addition, staff and campers should do the following. Lock the doors and barricade the door with
Closing up windows, close blinds, and cover windows.
Silence all electronic devices, including walkie-talkies, inside.
What about other avenues of execution?
Find anything that can be used as a weapon to fire extinguisher.
When safe to do so, use strategies to send and communicate with first responders if possible. Administer through windows, make signs silently signal the environment and emergency responders to indicate the status of burning accident.
There we go.
hide along the wall closet to the exit, or closest to the exit, but out of view from the hallway, which would allow the best option for ambushing the shooter and for possible escaping the shooter and potential attacking the other person.
Evacuation and hiding out are not possible. Remain calm down when possible for the police, the actors.
That's why I go to the front.
If you cannot speak, leave the line open and allow the dispatcher to listen.
And then you want to keep going with fight, please.
With neither running nor hiding as a safe option, when confronted by the shooter, individuals in immediate danger should consider trying to disrupt or incapacitate the shooter by using aggressive force and items in the environment such as fire extinguishers, chairs, etc.
Speaking with staff about confronting a shooter may be daunting and upsetting for some individuals, but great comfort can come from the knowledge that their actions could save lives. To be clear, confronting an active shooter should never be a requirement of any non-law enforcement personnel's job. How each individual chooses to respond if directly confronted by an active shooter is up to him or her.
Any actions taken during activation of the plan must be set as effective for individuals with disabilities, as those actions provided for other individuals at the camp. When developing or making changes to an emergency plan, it is imperative the needs of individuals with disabilities be addressed throughout the process.
As discussed earlier in the section, no one should be forced to stay or use the premises during temperature secure situations, unless otherwise directed by that person or other emergency personnel. Leadership at camp are ultimately responsible to ensure that counselors, campers, and visitors and emergency responders are properly taken care of during all situations of need. Camp advisors and admin team members should be taken seriously. Ensure that individuals identified as requiring assistance during the evacuation or shelter in place have a customized plan that includes the assistance required, the name of the person volunteering to assist, accountability protocol, type of equipment required, if any, and the evacuation route from the cabin and other common areas, bathrooms, dining halls, etc.
Identify any volunteer willing to assist a person with disabilities or needing assistance, and ensure those individuals under their supervision with self-identified assistant needs can be accounted for during the meeting.
Additionally, notifications should be made in a variety of formats so that they are accessible to those, especially with proper funding issues should be considered. By bringing those for ways to death or pedestrian.
Counselors, campers, or visitors who are blind.
And other notification measures.
Individuals whose disabilities go beyond death or disabilities, including people with temporary disabilities.
People with limited deficiency.
Sign cards with text and picture face, emergency messages, symbols.
Involving people with disabilities and all that.
Perfect. So, this kind of, I'm not going to make us read the whole thing, but I think the most important thing that I want you guys to remember is the run, hide, and fight. Basically, like when there's an active shooter. I strongly encourage you to read over this handout as soon as I send it to you, or like before camp, just so that you are familiar, again, with all the procedures that we've talked about today, and with these things. And just like everyone knows, like it's just so important to be prepared. Like none of this might even happen, and I don't even know if like we've even had like a fire or anything at camp so far, or like anything like that. But it's just good to be prepared for whatever the case may be, and to know how to like stay calm and collected, and mentally, like I said, mentally and physically prepared for these events. So now, I'm gonna give you about like 3 to 5